Hello, Team Flyer. Welcome back to the Always Weird podcast. I am your host, Ariadna, and I'm so excited for you to be here today once more. Season 4. Let's hear it out. Super thankful to continue being able to be a platform for you, a safe space for you, to have this community, to see this community grow and glow and be their most authentic self, and so empowering and so kind and so true, like raw and honest and real, and oh my goodness, all the feels, all the beautiful, 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 gorgeous feels. So yeah, we're back for season 4 with many more surprises to come, and guests and activities and thingies, and just all the love in the world, and all the tears and the happy jumps and everything else in between. So for this very first episode of Go to Fly with me, myself, and I, for this season, we're talking about a couple of things. Now, the first thing I wanted to address here is numbers. Goodness gracious. Yeah, we're just going to start right into it. We're just going to get into our topic of the day because, yeah, they're a doozy, both of them. Numbers. What are numbers? Why are numbers so important? They're not. News alert, they're not. Now, if we're talking numbers related to anything STEM and sciencey, I gets it. The numbers I'm referring to that we don't need as like a life reminder every single day, aka daily reminder, I guess, is how much you weigh, is ratings, is just everything that stems from giving a numerical value to a person. Like what's happening, what is happening, okay? Because basically I've had this train of thought recently where not only, when we're kids, we're rated by either a numeric symbol, aka number, I guess, like from 0 to 100 or 0 to 10. In some countries is A through F, and I'm sure there's definitely different cases in general, but usually it's a number, and even if it's a letter, that letter relates to a number, and so on and so forth. Maybe a little bit better, but we're not going to get into that. We're going to get into the whole number system vibe, basically. You are basically saying to a person that you need to do X, Y, Z in order to get like that particular grade mark, to be valued, to be, not only to be valued, to be a good person, but to like have value. And of course, grades help us along the way, and we know there's a whole lot of psychological debate behind it, and we understand where it comes from a little bit. But the thing is, when we transfer that number into our value of our life, like that's where it gets really, really messy. Because how does this continue? It continues in various forms, and the ones that I've related to recently are age, which is still just the number. The whole thing, like, I have to be married by the time I'm 30. I have to have kids by the time whatever. I must, finish my degree by the time whatever. By this age, by that moment, and this age. And it's usually an age. It's not like, oh, I'll get married when I officially, love myself and have healed and have gone through, like, lots of moments of therapy. No, it's I'll get married when I'm 30 because I have to. Because it's on the freaking calendar and I have to, It's one of those things. And also time with those numbers are also very, very relative because we're all in different timelines and we all have very different lives. So that's one of the things that I have noticed a lot. Like just in general, I think we all have. Like, oh, this is just a typical thing that everyone starts thinking about at some certain age or other. And not only about marriage or kids or things like that, or quote unquote settling down, which shouldn't even be a thing anymore. But even like teenagers, I have a lot of teenagers come to me. It's like they feel the pressure to, have a first partner, do things with their partner, or to see which degree they will go into, and like they just choose it because someone suggested it and it was like, oh, this is the thing we're doing now, okay, like you want me to do this because I have to graduate by this age. Or just the pressure they put on themselves because it comes from other external sources of saying this is the number you need, and like I just want to stand up and talk about this, because even if it's just on a podcast episode or some TikToks, or conversation with friends, clients, business partners, etc., like at least it's a conversation that's being out there, it's being promoted a lot more to say, hey, let's F those numbers. Because it comes down, it stems from that, but then it continues, right? It continues to like social media where we're like, oh my God, I have 1 like, or oh my God, I have 1,000,000 likes. Oh my God, I have 0 likes. Oh my God, I have 10 billion likes or downloads or streams or followers, or, insert whatever it is you want here. Like there are certain goals and certain things that you're like, wow, that needs to be celebrated. That's wicked cool that your message got across to so many people. But like when you're posting things, can we all agree? Can we all finally come to terms that it's 2022? Can we just post what we want, when we want, and how we want it? Because it's been a year for me. I want to say that or maybe more, who knows, that I was like, having to upload at 3:52 and 16 seconds every day, 3 times, not even every day, it was like 3 times a week, and like the other 2 times has to be like at 7:27 with 14 seconds, and then the other time is like, and things like that. Yeah, certain things help, and it's easier said than done, and you're like, yeah, but I want to get my stuff across and things like that. Yeah, but like that's okay. But if that's all you do, you're more obsessed with the numbers than the thing that actually brings you joy. And the thing that brings you joy is creating that content, whatever that content may be, to actually put out in the world. So the energy that you're creating it with, it's actually more obsessed over like the likes or the amount of views it's gonna get, versus like the amount of happiness and delightfulness that it actually brings you. And that's super important. Like it happened to me a whole lot on TikTok. Like, oh my God, I'm not getting any views. Like I'm getting 1 view. Like what in the world? And like 6 hours later, still 1 view. But then all of a sudden, like 24 hours later, I have like more views. And I'm like, who cares? You did that TikTok for you. No one else. You needed that TikTok at that moment. Yes, you kind of wish it reaches the people that it needs to reach, and you really were pushing yourself to like make sure that your messages come across. But guess what? The more you do upload, the more that message is going to get across. Now, I'm not going to go down the line of like talking about, the algorithm and like, no, Ariadna, you have to like, you can't be posting every 2 seconds to TikTok or to Instagram because they're going to shadow, they're going to do this, they're going to like, okay, we're not doing this in this episode. What we're explaining, because I see them coming, is that your value does not equal a numerical number. Is that just how it makes sense? You know what I mean? Your value does not equal a number, basically, because then a lot of people don't post what they want to post, and for various reasons. One, because they're afraid that like they're not going to get enough likes, which is annoying. Like it makes me upset that people think that way because society told them so, or that people start uploading things just because it looks pretty / it feels right towards the public / it's part of the aesthetic, and that's where we lose the realness. So for both of those things, for me, like I was saying, I want to say a year, and definitely done some, definitely more than a year without a doubt, but for sure a year, because in 2021 we finished season 2 of the Always Weird podcast in the summer, and I was so burned out about having to post like I keep saying, like I know these numbers, like 11:23 at 16 seconds or something or other crazy like that, in order to get the hype. But at the end of the day, I was just felt very, very burned out. Not only to get content out, like get more and more and more and more content out, and you're just like drained, but just like a whole disconnect. So I went offline for 3 months. I don't know many people who've done this. It wasn't 3 months because I said 3 months. It was like whenever I feel ready to come back, I'll come back. I came back for literally Halloween Day. Why? because I wanted to show off my Halloween costume from last year, because I was Cruella DeVille, and I was also Danny from Hocus Pocus, and it was Binks and me. And because, of course, I did a double costume because it's me and I love Halloween. And I was like, this is what I want to post. It has nothing to do with mind, body, soul, wellness, and that's also why it's on my personal account. And I just want to post it because I just feel pretty and cool, and I love Halloween, and like, why not? And then from that moment on, I've really been posting what I want. I didn't really go on the trends vibe. It just, if it felt right, I did it. I did the sound, and if it didn't, then it didn't. I posted carousels when they're not really a thing anymore, and I'm like, no, these are just moments of my life. I remember a whole lot when I was teaching recently again, and even if it was for a short bit, I had this group of kids. I'm going to call them the Wisdom Domain, and they really, really spoke to my heart. I talk about them a lot in my next episode, a Kuna Matata episode that's going to come out soon for Motivational Monday. And these group of kids really motivated, encouraged me. They really, I had a life-changing moment with them and made me remember and realize why I do what I do and how much I love to be able to express self-worthiness and self-love to so many different people, and I'm excited to do it in a bigger platform. And because we did a lot of things throughout the time I taught them, I was like, I uploaded a few things on my Instagram on like as an actual post, not even a story, about them, and like things to remember them by a little bit more specifically. And they were like, oh my God, it's a carousel. It's so innovative. Like, we don't really see that and stuff like that, anymore, because it's all about the reels or trends or whatever. Once again, not getting super deep into that because it's just algorithm, stuff. And I'm like, yeah, because it's how I want to, like, kind of have those memories of my life a little bit. Like, I can go back. I'm like, oh, these people or these moments or these adventures. I'm like, oh, it's so cool. Or like, I said, do I do it often? Probably. Do I do it always? Like I was gonna say, no. Whatever strikes me as the moment is right. So I've done that a whole lot through Instagram, but then through TikTok, it was all like, oh my God, the likes, oh my God, the views. Like, why is it not going? Why is it not going? What? And then it just defeats the purpose because you're so focused not only on like uploading things for the likes or for the views and the follows, you forget who you really are, but also you're also like sending that out to the universe. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna upload, and they're gonna see when they're gonna see it. And if they don't see it, it's fine. It wasn't meant to be. It's just meant for me. It's meant to be for me. Because guess who watches my TikTok the most? Me. And I know this. And the amount of creators that you will find are gonna like tell you the same thing. If they're able to admit that, kudos to them and thank you very much. Because I'm okay saying, like, I'm the person who watches my most TikToks because I freaking adore everything I post because it's just every version of me. And there's once of me crying, once of me saying I'm wrong, once of me dancing, once of me just being myself. And that's so cool. And that's kind of what the app or social media or, like, even if you're not technically on social media, the pictures you take for yourself, that's what it's all about. That's why we started creating and having that outlet. And as a art lady, you'll get that reference when you hear Epifania's episodes for Go to Fly. She's the very first Go to Fly guest, the art lady. And as an art lady myself, it is really, really exciting to me just to create anything that I want, from coloring in my coloring book to this specific episode to anything on TikTok, just because I know my worth and I know I want to say something. And if I only get one listen, then hey, at least someone listened to know I was me in the future, and they'll be like, oh cool, that's where I was, October 2022, cool beans, all right, next. And you learn. So this comes down once again to the numbers. Like, that's super duper important to talk about and to realize how it affects us, what we're going through, and how important it is to make that conscious shift. I think that's one of the most important things. And then not only that, on top of that, if that wasn't enough, talking about numbers, for example, one of the other things I want to point out my next example was going to be all about the fact that the evaluation of these numbers are constant in our life, even when you're an adult. Not only that goes beyond the whole age, should be married by 30 again, or like all these sorts of examples that I've said previously, but also within a job. It is insane. And this happened to me recently because as I'm growing this force of a business, as I'm growing this platform, speaking up for my voice and things like that, I have side quests, aka side jobs, and this and that, and a lot of it does involve teaching to continue down that path a little bit of, being able to be the best kind of mentor and, inspirational speaker and all these sorts of things that I can be. And this is where the whole wisdom domain again comes from, because thanks to that particular group, it reminded me again of like why I do what I do. My point being, one of the things that happened in that particular job environment is that the staff gets graded every week. So even as an adult, and I know this is not the only job that does this, like I know many big, companies, the typical 9-to-5 jobs, the typical, you're in a cubicle kind of job, all those kind of things still happen, that you rank up points or grades or notes or numbers, and it gets not only competitive among each other, which shouldn't be the case, but also it goes back down to your value is quote unquote only this number. And because in this particular job, this happens on a week to week basis, what happens is that like there's certain people that I've seen, coworkers from the past, from present, and not only in this kind of job, just in general. Once again, it's not only pinpointing one particular job, but you do see it that it affects people's mood a whole lot, because not the competition, with each other, but also with yourself and how you were the previous week, for example. And I mean, if you're going to be an Olympic player, if you're going to be, I don't even know what Olympic player is, but an Olympian, if you're going to be in sports, if you're going to be in some sort of area in your life that those numbers kind of do matter to up your game, and that's part of your job in that kind of way, I get it. But on a typical quote unquote 9-to-5 job, just for productivity, it makes no sense. One, let's just talk about the fact how we're different people week by week. It doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're a woman, or whoever you identify as. We're different people in different moments of our life every single day throughout the whole day. If that was enough, in a lot of the kind of jobs that I've had, and I've seen a lot of my friends have, and clients and etc. have, they change the people they work with on a constant basis. So not only does it depend the mood that you're in that week, but also depends on who are you're surrounded by that week at your job. Then if you take all that and then you add the fact that every week you might be surrounded by different people. You might be going through a breakup, you might be getting married, you might be just having a kid, you might be just seeing your kid graduate. Like, there's so many different areas of your life that can affect that number / that mood. So the fact that you're evaluated by just that number just irks me the wrong way. And this goes to show you that, like, that inner growth that I've had, that I always try to tell you, like, this is a lot of shadow work here. There's a lot of, like, battles. Because having jobs like this before, you would have put me in this job 5-6 years ago, and I would have gotten a low number, or what they would consider a low number, and I would have been heartbroken. I would have been like, I gave them the best week ever. I gave them the best month ever, or trimester, or quarterly, whatever. Like, I did the very best I could in every single moment of my life. Like, why? Like, it came off, like, from so much despair and hate and anger and just, like, proving myself. And, yeah, of course, it all stems back to, like, breaking generational trauma and that stigma and all that from, like, the previous past moments of my life going all the way to this number. This time around, what had happened to me, because in that side quest that I had for a really short time, and I had to adapt to that really quickly, the first weekend, or the first time I ever got these numbers, I was watching one of my favorite TV shows, of course, Disney, and the things came in, the email came in, and I stopped what I was doing, and I saw a really low number, and I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, Ariadna, what are you doing? You know your worth, and you're worth more than this. And not only that, these people are never going to see you again. And not only that, even if they were, like, you know where you are at in life. And you know your value is way more than just this particular number in time. And even if you think that you have some sort of relationship to that number, like, oh yeah, you know, like I missed the mark here and there, literally what I just said, that was you in that particular moment in time. So that's another thing of accepting that's where you are. And when I did look at that, and I stopped what I was doing in my moment of happiness, and I got like frustrated like nothing, like 2 minutes, not even. And then I'm like, this is also the same week where I hurt my back again, but the only reason I hurt my back is because of all the stress this job was giving me. So, like, talk about that little mini full circle there all over again. And it just goes to show you, like, of course, I shook it off. I'm like, oh, who cares? And the following weeks that I was able to stay in that job for a little bit, once again, side quest, I was just like, oh, that's fine. Like, every week is going to be different. Every time, like, these numbers come in, I'm going to be a different version of myself, a different moment of myself, and it's fine. Because guess what? I'm worth so much more than this. I'm so much more than this. And swinging that back around once more, with things that we create and things we put out in the world, no matter what that is, the more we're obsessed about numbers, the less quality of our work. Like, the more, it's like the whole quality versus quantity, you know? It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have, like, I don't even know what to call it, but like beginners, not beginner's luck. That's not what I'm thinking about, babes. No, like trial and error moments. There you go. That's absolutely normal. You've heard many of my episodes. We've lagged in some of the cases because of not communication. Well, yes, communication, but technology and on their end, or we've had ambulances in the background because it's a very noisy street, or we had the Amazon guy, so on and so forth. We have dog barkings. We've had those moments, and that's absolutely fine because we do a lot of trial and error of certain moments, certain times a day, and that's perfectly okay as long as we learn to grow from that. Of course, I would rather have those kind of episodes out and still be quality episodes with a message than nothing at all, thinking I have to be perfect and thinking I need to reach a certain number. That's a different side topic to what I was originally saying, was basically I would rather upload anything I like when I want and know that that's part of me, that's who I am, versus like I need to post to get the likes, or whatever, because that's art. It's trial and error, it's expressing yourself, it's being who you are, and art comes in very different forms. It doesn't have to be public, aka social media, but you're still creating some way part of you. You think you're not, but you're creating something, and you best believe that you're more than a number, because numbers really don't mean a thing in this particular sense. They don't. And I didn't really touch the subject, but the whole, what you weigh and body positive and body positivity and all these sorts of things is the exact same thing. You know where your mind's at. You know where your body's at. And the fact that you, like I always say, I always praise you. The fact that you're here listening to this precise message and moment in time is an ode to you and your love and your self-worth, because you're here wanting to make a difference with yourself, and that's something that's super duper important as well. So I definitely want to make sure that you understand that even if you're in a moment in your life that you don't like the way you look precisely, you don't really fully love yourself, you are giving yourself the opportunity just by being here. And if you're taking notes, or if you start following people that I'm like that I recommend, or you listen to this episode and listen to a bunch of different things around the area of wellness and mind, body, soul, and whatnot, That's the steps you have to take. That and therapy. I'm always pro therapy. That's a whole different side conversation, of course. But yeah, those are my 2 cents of numbers right now, because of, I feel like it was kind of a little bit of a constant in my life with different like it appeared in many different ways and areas, and I'm like, let's talk about this. All right, let's up the name of the game, and let's remember that we bring the whole table, and let's remember how, like, our value and the fact that we are doing the shadow work and we're going through the flames, and we're, seeing the ugly part of ourselves and the beautiful part of ourselves. That makes us remember and once again come together, because we're all in this together, to make sure that we're more than just numbers, because the numbers don't mean a thing. Alrighty then, so next, away we go. Inner teen healing. All about the inner teen healing. So we talk a lot about your inner child healing. We talk a whole lot about listen to your inner child and making sure that they have all, like, everything they desire, and just have fun, and bring in that Disney Lego video game, jumping in the rain, puddles, slides, coloring book, anything you can think of, that kind of magic, blowing bubbles, just going to the park to blow bubbles kind of magic, and then some. We are starting to talk a little bit more about your inner teen healing, because it also needs, that area of your life, that person also needs a lot of self-love and care. And one of the things I recently realized, to sound like a tongue twister over here, is that, my inner teen is going ballistic and crazy and wild, basically. We already had a lot of, letting go ceremonies and rituals with a lot of different things that has happened to us, because it was one of the first things we started healing way back in the day, in my early 20s in this particular case, or shortly after actually being a teenager. A lot of things had to be addressed right away, because that was the root of a lot of different things, right? And then what is happening right now, at least in my 2 cents, at least the moment of the of recording this, when this airs and you listen to it, who knows? It's like Alice in Wonderland says, I was a different person than I was this morning. I was a different person than I was 5 minutes ago. That's not the exact quote, but you get the drift. Point being, my inner teen, what I talked a lot about in my lives, my TikTok lives, and TikToks in general, is that she is very, very angry. And the reason she's angry right now currently is because everything she's known is being shattered again. In the sense of, at that moment in her life, this person, the version of her who she was, aka who I was in that time, was very much working 24/7, go, 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 and only declared her worth, going back to the whole worth thing, with the amount of jobs she had, and the amount of time she had to keep on moving to be productive and going and going and going, because this is the only reason or way that she thought she was ever going to reach stability and comfort and kindness and love and things like that. So right about now, where I am, she's clinging to that for dear life, because all of my tower moments that I've been dealing with in this very moment are very much so to the extent of healing that part, of being still, of trusting the universe, of understanding that in this very quote unquote hurricane, tornado, torpedo, despair of a moment that we are currently going through, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be more than okay. And we just have to remember to sit still, to be still, to be one with who we are and how we are. And that's ultra important. And now, once again, easier said than done. We understand. I gets it. I got it. Believe me, I do. Going through that shadow work and seeing that part of you, of like understanding that you were tied down to your productivity, that right now, with all the chaos around you, you're choosing to stay calm instead of thinking about, oh, I should be getting another job, or I should be working that 9 to 5, or I should be. All the shoulds, once again, it goes back down to that root. we are disassociating ourselves from that world, from that vocabulary, to be like, what does my soul need right now? What does my body need right now? So what it needs is to rest, to be still. It did do that for a long time, that kind of hermit mode, to heal, to be more relaxed, to be more in the moment, and actually do more things that give you that pleasure. And only pleasure because you love playing video games, or you love biking, or you love all these sorts of different activities, but also the pleasure of just being here at this very moment, that you're not thinking about something that happened to you this morning. You're not thinking about what you're having for dinner tonight. You're thinking more about what is happening in front of you and who is in front of you. And even it's with you, yourself, and you, that's a very important thing. And this goes to show you, like, the whole pandemic, like the fact that we had to sit in our room, whether your relationship, whether you have kids, whether you're single, whatever it is your situation was, we had to stop and think and sit with ourselves for a really long time, for the first time ever for most of us. And that, awakened so many inner demons in a good way, because that what shook us up, that foundation just came tumbling down for those doing the kind of work that, I'm doing alongside with you and with myself. So for my inner teen, she's right now experiencing tower moment, towers, tower moment, towers, tower moment, because instead of fighting back, instead of like when someone, I told a short story the other day really quickly, or a few weeks ago by now probably, but because everything for me is the other day, because time is relative, about I was going into work, I was going to a meeting, I was going somewhere really early in the morning, and I hopped on the bus, and there was a bunch of seats that were empty, but there was only there's only one, sorry, that was facing forward, and I really wanted to sit facing forward. And this is the one that had, like, it was the 4 seats facing each other, basically, kind of vibe, you know what I mean, like 2 seats and 2 seats facing each other. And this woman was on the phone. She had a bag down in the seat next to her, facing forward. She was also sitting forward. She had her feet up in the seat in front of her, and then she had like an umbrella or something in the other seat. So she was taking up 4 seats. And I get on the bus and I see, like, oh, this is the one facing forward. Okay. And this one that has like leg space. Okay, that's the one I'm gonna choose. So I just walk over to her and like, can you please move your bags? This was once again like at 7:15 in the morning, 7 in the morning, like wicked early. And she just gets up on my face saying, like, out of all the places you decide to sit on this one, why don't you choose a different place? And I'm like, I'm choosing this place because I want to sit face forward, and it's because you are taking the 4 spaces. You can give me one. She got so upset and riled up. Like, she sat in front of me, she put her feet up, she put her bags down, she did move right away. She was, once again, on the phone, yelling, trying to stir something up. The people on the bus were like, can you lower your voice, please? You already, like, that's enough. And then the bus driver also said something. And it's one of those things that, once again, you would have thrown me in that situation maybe years ago as my inner teen was not being dealt with. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting here because I know it's correct, because I'm right, because I don't know what else I would have said or what I would have done. Versus now it's like, oh, I'm just going to speak up and speak my truth. So anytime I've had little injustices, because sometimes they're not major, it's not a huge one precisely comparison to a million others that does happen and has happened to me, but enough for me to be like, I'm speaking my truth. Tons of things happened at my job with like my side quest. Tons of things happened with my podcast where it lags, where the person is late because something happened to the traffic, and instead of meeting at 11, she came in rolling at 1, and you're like, oh, all right, that changes up, but it's okay. Or we had to postpone things because we've gotten sick, so we can't record now. We have to wait a whole month to record because scheduling, And a lot of these things, of course, one person, some of them kind of take me off because you plan things a certain way. But right now, most of the time, it's like, oh, okay, this is me standing up for myself. This is me speaking my truth. This is me standing my ground. This is me knowing my worth. This is me knowing that this seat is mine. Thank you very much. Things with our landlord, things with our roommates, things with your partner, like all these sorts of things is really important. And that's something that with my inner teen, like all the time, she is like kicking back and forth. She's like, no, but like, what are these tower moments? Like, we're supposed to be acting out. We're supposed to be all going all crazy. Like, this is what we're used to. Or we're supposed to be working 24/7, working 3 jobs and, passing out every weekend because, like, that's the way life was. You're like, no, sweetheart, it's okay. You are safe now. You are protected. Yes, it's really weird being in the unknown. It is completely weird being in there. I was watching Fate, which is the Wings saga on Netflix. So freaking good. And I was watching season 2, and one of the characters was talking to a parent figure. And it's like, so am I supposed to like walk through life into the unknown or something like that? He said. And he's like, yeah, pretty much. And he wasn't okay with that. He didn't accept that in this particular moment because he's a teenager and life happens. Once again, talking about the inner teen vibes. And I'm like, you do. You gotta, I'm telling my inner teen, it's okay. We don't know what's going to happen next. We know that this situation that we're currently in is something temporary because everything's temporary. We know we are working towards a better guide, better life, better everything, step by step. How? We know this because you keep posting those TikToks, you keep posting content that's meaningful to you because you keep doing something that brings you joy. We know this because when you are watching that Disney movie or you are watching that Disney show or you're hanging out with your favorite person, you're there in that moment. We know this because you build those Legos. You bought yourself Lego sets and you're building them and you have them there and you play with them. You play with your Switch, you play Animal Crossing, you play all these sorts of things. You do have that stuffed animal. We know that this is working because we're able to stand up for ourselves in those moments with kindness and respect. And if someone crosses the line with you, that is also when you know you're worth so much that you do something about it, So it is a really strange thing, and especially when you go through all sorts of like different, layers and layers of trauma related things. It is something so intricate of like, oh my God, the foundation is like leaving me, like, but this is all I've ever known, like what is happening? And it fights back. Like that also happened the same week, like I was saying in my previous example, that happened the same week that not only did I hurt my back again by simply sitting down, like the silliest thing, not the silliest thing, but like it wasn't nothing more than just sitting down. It was fighting back because it was also going to a job that felt really, really demeaning as well in that specific moment. So my body some way was also fighting back. I'm like, oh, this is how things are. Like, let me make it more complicated for you because you really don't want this. You really don't want to be here. You really are trying to like make this something completely different. And like, I don't know, like, it was that kind of wake up moment. And when I realized that my back started hurting, and what happened then? Like, I didn't let the fear win, because previously, in previous years, in previous seasons, because life is a show, as well as life is a game, because I love both of those analogies, in previous seasons, that would have been, it's like, oh, okay, because I went back, I have to stay in this job anyway because that's going to pay the bills, because I have to go to the doctor because it's the only way, and you're like, let me debunk all these myths and let me debunk all these kind of, mentality F-ups. Let's just take a break. Let's just be in the moment and let's move on. Because who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? Right now, in this very second, I can get a phone call that can change my life forever. And I can have something that can change my life forever in a different way, for positive, for negative. All that really matters is how your reaction to it and how you process those feelings. So it is something I do want to talk about more and more. The inner teen. I'm very open to questions. I love talking to you all. I know you shared a lot of stories on the TikToks, and I love posting them and being able to express myself with you guys and with Team Flyer in general. And I think that's just something super duper important as well. It is absolutely amazing and breathtaking to me to see that change and feel that change as well with those two things. This is why with this first episode of the season with Go to Fly, these two topics that can easily be episodes on their own, I wanted to talk about them because I want to get the ball rolling to be like, we're diving in deep. We're going to make sure that we're having that heart-to-heart, open communication, safe space, because we're human beings, and we're going to talk about this stuff. And we're going to make each other think, and we're going to make each other, like, get better, because that's what we're here for. And only to go along the lines of, like, of course, a typical cliche thing, like, you're not alone, but it's absolutely true. But because I like to have a positive twist to all these words, we're in this together. We're here in this moment in time together to help each other up. And yeah, that's basically my 2 cents on numbers and a little bit of like inner teen healing and all the layers that it comes with, much like Shrek said, and the onion, that we're all layers. And I think Donkey was like, "Can I be cake?" I haven't watched Shrek in forever. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here and for being part of this moment and this just for being yourself, for showing up, for being here. And you know where we are. You know where I am. If you like what you hear, comment, like, subscribe, give us 5-star ratings. I say us because I do believe that we are a team, and we are a team flyer, and we are making this world a better place together. Not only with whatever I bring to the table, but my guests bring to the table, you guys bring to the table. So keep them coming, keep us soaring. So keep having those ratings and making us grow even better, because the more we do this together, the bigger we become, and the more content there is out there to make the world that better place that we all know that needs to be. And it's all thanks to us, because we are putting in the work. So I'm very, very proud of you. Please know your worth. Please understand your value in this world and start loving yourself inside out. Hashtag not a Disney reference, but low-key a Disney reference, because Inside Out is an amazing movie. But start loving yourself inside out. It comes from within. All right? Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts about these 2 topics. Let me know your favorite, inner teen activity that you feel like doing, that you do. Usually it's like, I love listening to music is my thing. I adore music, and it moves me in so many different ways. And talking about music, what I always want to promote now, because you've all asked for it, I finally have a playlist as well. I have a playlist on Spotify called Right Now This Moment Born to Be VIP. And but it's linked in bio and on my link tree. So anywhere you see that. And it's really inspirational songs that just make you feel good and vibe and jive. And talking about inner teen, I was thinking about actually the other songs that you listened to when you were a teenager, and just like jam out to those. But in this specific playlist, now that I remember, it's manifesting mantras, just putting yourself out there, just getting on all those good feelings. If you have any suggestions for the playlist, please let me know too, because I love adding new music. I adore listening to new sounds and vibing high, because that's who we are and that's what we bring to the table, because we know our worth, we know we're baddies, and we know that we're able to achieve what we want because we're doing it step by step. Be kind to yourself. Listen to your soul. Listen to your heart. You got this fire within you. I believe in you. I trust you. I'm proud of you. Believe that. Know that. Be it. Live it. All right, babes. My team flyer. So, see you soon. See you next time. Thank you so much once again for listening, subscribing, liking, comment, all the beautiful things. Hug tighter, love stronger, always believe. This is your host, Ariadna, for the Always Believe Your podcast, Season 4. Yay! See you soon. Bye. Team Flyer.